What if the greatest battlefield you'll ever face isn't in the world around you, but within your own mind? For centuries, Shaolin monks have mastered an extraordinary truth. The body and mind are not separate entities, but a unified force capable of transcending what we believe possible. While most of us struggle with basic self-discipline, these warrior monks transform limitation into liberation through practices that seem almost superhuman. Their wisdom isn't locked behind monastery walls. It's available to anyone willing to embrace a profound truth about human potential. In the misty mountains of Henan Province, China, stands the legendary Shaolin Temple, a place where the extraordinary becomes ordinary through relentless discipline. The story begins in the 5th century, when an Indian monk named Bodhidharma arrived at the temple and found the resident monks physically weak from long meditation sessions. Observing their struggle, he retreated to a nearby cave where he meditated facing a wall for 9 years, emerging with a revolutionary system that would transform these scholarly monks into legendary warriors. What Bodhidharma understood, and what modern psychology now confirms, is that the mind and body exist in constant conversation. The monks didn't just train their bodies. They cultivated a mental fortress through physical challenge. Each movement in their martial arts practice became a meditation, each stance a lesson in resilience. Consider the training of young Shaolin disciples. Their day begins at 5 a.m. with rigorous physical conditioning that would break most adults. They practice striking wooden posts until their hands bleed, then heal, then grow stronger. They balance on narrow poles to master focus. They perform handstands for hours to build not just strength, but unwavering concentration. But here's what's fascinating. When interviewed, these monks don't speak of pain or hardship. They describe a journey toward freedom. One young monk, after breaking a concrete slab with his forehead, was asked if it hurt. His response reveals the essence of Shaolin wisdom. Of course it hurts. The difference is that I've learned to experience pain without suffering from it. This distinction between experiencing difficulty and being defeated by it lies at the heart of their philosophy. Modern neuroscience gives us insight into what's happening here. When we repeatedly push through discomfort with focused intention, we literally rewire our neural pathways. The amygdala, our brain's fear center, becomes less reactive while the prefrontal cortex, responsible for executive function, strengthens. What the monks discovered through centuries of practice, science now validates. Disciplined discomfort transforms our relationship with adversity. But the Shaolin approach isn't about punishment or self-denial. Their practices embody what psychologists call eustress, beneficial stress that stimulates growth. When a monk stands in a horse stance until his legs burn with fire, he's not just building physical strength. He's cultivating the mental capacity to remain calm and present when everything within him screams to escape discomfort. This is precisely the skill we need in our chaotic modern lives. You might think, this sounds impressive, but I'm not trying to become a warrior monk. Fair enough. But consider how often you abandon important goals when discomfort arrives. How many times have you quit a new habit because it felt too hard? How often does emotional turbulence hijack your best intentions? The Shaolin wisdom isn't about breaking bricks with your head. It's about developing the inner strength to remain steady when life tries to break you. Here's where the Shaolin wisdom becomes truly revolutionary. What appears to be extreme physical discipline is actually a sophisticated form of liberation. The monks aren't punishing themselves. They're systematically dismantling the prison of their own limitations. Master Shi Yongxin, the current abbot of Shaolin Temple, explains it this way. The purpose of training is not to defeat others, but to defeat the self. This paradox, that true freedom comes through rigorous discipline, contradicts everything our comfort-seeking culture promotes. We're constantly sold the idea that liberation comes through indulgence, through following every impulse and desire. Yet the Shaolin monks demonstrate something profound. Real freedom isn't the ability to do whatever you want. It's the ability to choose your response regardless of circumstance. Consider the famous iron shirt technique, where monks can withstand devastating blows to their bodies. The untrained observer sees only the spectacular result, a spear bending against a monk's throat without piercing skin. But the deeper truth lies in what happens internally. Through years of Qigong practice, these monks learn to direct their qi, life energy, to specific areas, creating not just physical resilience, but extraordinary mental control. They don't just endure the spear, they transform their relationship with it. This reveals a startling insight about human potential. What we call limitations are often just boundaries we've never seriously questioned. The average person stops when discomfort arrives, interpreting that signal as a wall. The Shaolin monk recognizes it as a door. Mayer Shahar, in his scholarly work on Shaolin history, notes something fascinating. The monks' physical practices weren't separate from their spiritual cultivation. They were the vehicle for it. Each kick, each punch, each moment of standing meditation became an opportunity to experience what psychologists now call flow state, that transcendent condition where action and awareness merged. In that state, the chattering mind falls silent, and you experience complete immersion in the present moment. What if the discomfort you're avoiding is actually the gateway to your next evolution? What if the resistance you feel toward discipline is precisely the weight needed to strengthen your inner resolve? The monks understood something we desperately need to relearn. Comfort is a pleasant visitor, but a dangerous master. The most profound Shaolin teaching isn't about developing supernatural abilities. It's about recognizing that the mind's perceived limitations are largely self-imposed. When a monk breaks a stack of bricks, he's not defying physics. He's demonstrating what becomes possible when you align body, breath, focus, and intention toward a single purpose. The miracle isn't in the breaking. It's in the unbreakable concentration that makes it possible. So what can we extract from these warrior monks that applies to your life right now? The essence is beautifully simple. Disciplined practice transforms not just what you can do, but who you become in the process. Here's a practical approach inspired by Shaolin wisdom. Begin training in a martial art with complete presence and attention. It doesn't need to be kung fu specifically. Any disciplined physical practice will serve. What matters is how you engage with it. As you train, notice how your mind wants to escape the physical demands. Instead of avoiding this discomfort, lean into it with full awareness. Feel each movement, each stretch, each moment of resistance as an opportunity to strengthen not just your body, but your relationship with reality itself. This physical discipline becomes a powerful metaphor for life's challenges. When you regularly subject yourself to controlled physical stress, the burn in your muscles, the challenge of learning new forms, the humility of beginning as a novice, you develop a crucial skill: resilience in the face of discomfort. This is precisely what you need when pursuing any meaningful project or goal. Think about it. Whenever we engage in difficult endeavors, starting a business, mastering a skill, building meaningful relationships, discomfort is inevitable. The person who abandons ship at the first sign of struggle never reaches the treasure that lies beyond. By training your body with disciplined attention, you simultaneously train your mind to recognize discomfort, not as a signal to retreat, but as evidence that you're growing. Remember the monk's distinction between pain and suffering? Pain is inevitable, a natural response to challenge. Suffering is what we add through resistance, avoidance, and mental elaboration. By practicing disciplined engagement with physical training, you develop the ability to experience life's difficulties without being defined or defeated by them. You learn to say, "This is challenging, and I am still here, still breathing, still moving forward." The path of the warrior monk isn't about becoming superhuman. It's about fully embracing your humanity, including the parts that are difficult, messy, and challenging. It's about recognizing that true strength isn't measured by how much you can bench press, but by how present you can remain when everything within you wants to escape the moment. If you're ready to explore more ancient wisdom that can transform your modern life, hit that subscribe button and join our journey into the depths of human potential. Next time, we'll explore how the Stoic philosophers developed mental practices that parallel Shaolin training in surprising ways, offering another path to inner freedom through disciplined thought. What physical discipline might become your gateway to greater mental resilience? The answer might just change everything.